Hi, third graders. So we've been working on place value for a couple weeks. We talked about how numbers are built using blocks. We talked about how numbers are built using values. We talked about comparing numbers. We talked about rounding numbers. And now we're going to end up the year adding and subtracting them. And now this is going to be a big review for pretty much all of you, to be honest. If you're in my class, we did this at the beginning of the year. If you're in Mrs. Wishart's class or Miss Court's class, it's still a review for you because I know that you did this last year in second grade as well with just smaller numbers. So we're going to review what regrouping is. We're going to review what happens when I add numbers and I have a bigger than one digit in each place value. What do I do with that? We're going to learn a couple different strategies and then we're going to practice. And then in the next video, in the next part, you'll do the exact same thing, but we'll be doing with subtraction. So I'm going to pause for a second, get my slideshow ready to go, and then we will get started. All right, Nuggets, so let's get to it. So just like anything, we're going to start with what would the blocks look like. Okay, so I've got two numbers here that we're going to add together, but I've got to figure out what the problem is. So first I'm going to figure out what my two numbers are. So it's kind of basically like, here are the two numbers are between there, okay? So if I look at my top number, I have 100, 200, 300, 400, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 465 on top, and I'm going to add that to 100, 200, 300, 20, 30, 3. I didn't do that on purpose, but that's kind of fun. 3, 3, 3. Okay, so if I add them together, I'm going to start with my ones place. So if I add these plus these, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 5 plus 3 is 8, so that makes sense. Okay? If I add my tens together, I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I'm going to put my 9 right there. And if I count my hundreds, I've got 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. So when I added that problem, that one was basic, super easy. We just added the columns. I mean, honestly, what I did was I counted my blocks, but I didn't necessarily need to. 5 plus 3 is 8, 6 plus 3 is 9, 4 plus 3 is 7. So my answer ended up being 798. Now, I don't always have the blocks. Sometimes I could draw the blocks. There's other strategies I can do as well. But this is not a problem that required me to regroup. You learned about regrouping a bit last year in second grade, I know you did, where if you have a situation like, I'll do an easy, like a two-digit number. If I have, let's say, 74 plus 19, for example. 4 plus 9 is 13. And I can't put 13 in the ones place because each place can only hold one digit. So you learned in second grade that you put the ones here and you regroup that 10. And so you can see, like, if I put that together, 1 and 3, that makes the 13, right? So then I add my tens place. So 1 plus 7 plus 1 is 9. Okay, so that's that regrouping that you learned about in second grade. Whoopsie, I don't want to get rid of that 9. We are going to do that with larger 3 and 4 digit numbers this year. So let's look at another example. Uh-oh. Oopsie, too far. Okay, so I have to figure out what my two numbers are. It looks like I've got 500, 3 tens, and 7 ones, plus 200s, 8 tens, and 4 ones. Okay. So when you were in second grade and you did this with the blocks, and if we were at school right now, I would definitely be giving you blocks to do this, but since I can't do that, we're going to rely on our pictures. If I combine my ones together, I've made a 10. That is a group of 10. And then I have these just two singles, okay? So I'm going to write down my two singles, and I'm going to think about that 10 as though it's one of these. So I grouped them together. I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to add one to my picture. So what I did was I grouped 10 together. I made a mistake, didn't I? I only moved up. There we go. So that changes things, doesn't it? I don't have one left, or I have one left over now. I don't have two leftovers. Okay, so what I did was I made a group of 10 up here, and then I just created it into a tens rod instead. I added a 10 to my picture, okay? So now I'm going to count up all my tens. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, that's more than 10. So I'm going to make a group of 10. Get my mouse. Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that is a group of 10. If I put a group of 10 together, that's basically an extra 100, isn't it? So now I've got these two down here, two left tens, 1, 2. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hundreds. Now let's look at the math. Originally, when I added 7 plus 4, I didn't get 1, I got 11. We wrote down the 1, we regrouped the 10, because in the number 11, we have a tens place and a ones place. I did that backwards. We have a tens place and a ones place. We regroup the 10 into the tens place, and we just keep the ones place. Now I'm going to add my tens. I've got 8 tens plus 3 tens plus 1 10. That was 12. Do you remember that in the picture? So in the number 12, I keep the ones and I regroup. This is the one that goes up top. Okay? And then I do 2 plus 5 plus 1, which is 8. So that's where I got the number 821. So one method is to use blocks. Now, you don't have blocks at home. At least I bet most of you don't. This keeps pausing on me. I went too far. Okay, so let's think about it with an easy two-digit number, okay? If I have 39, if I draw that, that's 10, 20, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay? And then I have 21, 10, 20, 1. So I'm going to start in the ones place. This is a group of 10. And I don't have any ones outside of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the 0, because I don't have any ones. Do you see any loose ones that aren't inside the bubble? I don't. I'm going to make a 10 right here. I'm going to put that 10 up here. Now I'm going to add up my tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that makes sense because 3 plus 2 plus the extra one is 6. So one method is that we can draw it. You draw it out, you make groups of 10, and then you find your total answer. That's one method. There's also an expanded method, and some people really prefer this. If I have 39 plus 21, we know that 39 is 30 plus 9. We learned that early in this unit in expanded form. We know that 21 is 20 plus 1. So now I can add those together. 9 plus 1 is 10. 30 plus 20 is 50. And if I put those together, I get 60. Look, it's the same exact answer that I got over there. So we can draw it. We can use expanded notation. We can also just use, this is called the standard algorithm. Okay, which is basically, your parents called it carrying. Okay, let's do another one. Let's say I have 57 plus 26. Let's practice the expanded notation method. 57 is the same thing as 50 plus 7. 26 is the same thing as 20 plus 6. So I'm going to add them broken up like that. 20 plus 50 is 70. 7 plus 6 is 13. So now if I add those together, I get 83. That's the expanded notation method. That's one way to do it. Another way is the standard algorithm. 7 plus 6 is 13. Watch me write 13. 13. Then I add my tens place. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 2 more is 8. Both of those methods work. We can do this with greater numbers as well, 3-digit numbers. Let's look at this one. This is 300 plus 0 tens plus 9 ones. This is 0 hundreds plus 2 tens, or 20, plus 6. Add them up. This is 300, 20, and 9 plus 6 is 15. So I end up with, for me, this is the easy one to do first. So I'm going to do that together. That's 35 plus 300. And I get 335 as my final answer. Let's come over here and do the standard method. 9 plus 6 is 15. Watch me write 15. 15. Now add the tens. 1, 2, 3. Now add the hundreds. Same answer. It helps me, when I have a 2-digit answer, like the 15, to write it in that order. Just like I would write it normally. I would write 15. But all I do is I separate it out, 15. Okay? That's so that I can make sure that I know that I'm taking care of my regrouping and I'm not forgetting it. By the way, your word is regrouping in this video. Just jot it down in your notes. Don't go in and take care of it right now, because I want you to stay focused on this. It's regrouping. Okay, next one. I'm going to start with the standard method this time. 3 plus 4 is 7. 8 plus 2 is 10. Do you see how I wrote it? 1, 10, 0 ones. 1 plus 5 plus 1 is 7. So my answer is 704. Now I'm going to check it by doing the expanded method. So this is 500 plus 20 plus 3. This is 100 plus 80, plus 4. Add them up. This is 600. This is 100. And this is 7. So I end up with 707. Same answer. Okay, let's see, how many of these do I have? Okay, so I want you to do this one. So pause the video. You can use either method, then come back and check your answer. Okay, so while you were gone, I expanded. So I end up with 300 plus 70 plus 2, 300 plus 70 plus 2, 200 plus 60 plus 9. Okay, so I'm going to add those up. So I end up with 500. Oh, I don't know this one, so I'm going to skip count by 10. So I'm holding up 6 fingers right now, and I'm starting at 70. 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130. Okay, so 130 plus 11. Okay, so you can do this however you want. I'm going to combine some of it first. I'm going to do, I end up with 630 plus 11, because I combined this first. And now I'm going to add on that 11, and that's going to be 641, I think. Let's come over here and check. 2 plus 9 is 11. 7 plus 6 is 13, plus 1 extra one is going to be 14. 1 plus 3 is 4, 5, 6. So 641. Same answer. So I hope you got the same answer as well. Now you're going to go do section 1 of your slides. It's all on addition. And then you'll have another video reviewing subtraction with you. And then you'll do the next section. Remember, your word for this first part of the video is regrouping. R-E-G-R-O-U-P-I-N-G. And that's when we take 10 ones and kind of trade it in for a tens rod, or 10 10 rods and turn it in for a hundreds flat. All right, off you go, do part 1.